Yesterday, we talked about the difference between area and perimeter, and we kind of did just the real basics of these are usually smaller math facts that we probably know. Today, we're going to look at more detailed and larger math facts and being able to use strategies to find the answer, and we may not know it as a math fact. So being able to do find the area of a rectangle using multiplication. So, Clay, can you go ahead and read our goal for today?
Our goal today is to be able to solve multiplication equations using the area model.
Thank you, sir. So looking at a multiplication problem or an area problem and saying, okay, I can find that area using length times width. So before we get started, I want to review what is area and how do you find area of a rectangle? So we talked about area and perimeter. So what is area? First, let's start with that. What is area? Who can tell me? What is the area? If you got your camera off, please go ahead and turn that on too and show you're with us.
Ania has her hand up and Corbin is showing us.
All right. Oh, Corbin's using hand signal. Okay. I see Guadalupe's hands up too. So Guadalupe, Ania, we'll let you answer the next question. Guadalupe, what is area?
In the inside?
Yeah, it's the space. Remember, we did that little hand signal, like almost look like a wave to cover the inside, but it's the space or the square units that take up the inside of a rectangle. Ania, how do we find area? So if I had this rectangle, how do we find the area of a rectangle?
You can take the 8 and the 3 and multiply it.
Yep, we're going to multiply the length times the width. So we will do 8 times 3 equals 24 square inches. Notice today we put units on them, and we're going to talk more about using units when we find the area of a rectangle. So not every rectangle we come across, though, is going to be basic math facts that we have practiced before. So a lot of us have probably seen 8 times 3 or know how to find 3 fast, but sometimes we're going to see ones like this, where we have 17 as the length and 4 as the width. We have feet. So what do we need to do to find area? Who can tell me the equation we're going to write down to help us find the area of this problem? Who can fill me in? What's the equation we're going to write down? Henry, what are we going to do to solve the problem?
We solved it by we know that 17 is at the top, so we put it in the bottom 2, and at the 4 we know, like on the side, we know that we can put it on the other side, so the addition is 17 plus 17.
So I'm going to stop you for a second. Henry, you were explaining exactly to me, and you're absolutely correct on what we would need to do if we're finding perimeter, right? If we're finding perimeter. We're talking about area today, which we just talked about is the space on the inside, right? And Ania reminded us that we would be multiplying the two numbers. So what will we multiply in this one to find the area, Henry? If we were doing it as multiplication, what would we do?
17 times 4.
We would have 17 times 4, right? That's what we're going to do to solve it. So I want to kind of talk about what do we do when we have 17 times 4, and we may not know 17 times 4, right? It's not as easy to do as some of those other problems we practiced. So who could tell me, what could we do if we got to this where we have 17 times 4 and we don't know what to do? Or we don't know that math fact? How can we solve this problem? How could we get 17 times 4 if we don't know? Michael, go ahead.
You can put 17 plus 17 plus 4 plus 4.
So that's the perimeter. But you're on the right track. So we're going to start with 17 plus 17. Right, and we're going to add 7 plus 7 is 14, so 4 ones, the 1 10 up here. So we get 34. So we know that 2 times 17 is 34. So if we're trying to get 4 times 17, what could we do? What can we do from here? CJ, go ahead.
So if 17 plus 17 equals 34 and you're trying to multiply 17 times 4, you can take the answer that you get, which is 34, and then you double 34 to get 68.
Very good. So I'm going to kind of notate out what CJ just said. So he's saying if we have 17 times 4, right here we have 17 times 2, and we can do that again, 17 plus 17, and get 34 again, right? So now we have, you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 17s. We have 34 plus 34, and that gives us 68. So our answer is going to be 68. Now this is when we said we have square units. What is the unit? Denise, can you tell me what unit are we measuring in on this one right here? What unit do we have on the rectangle? So I'll underline it. What unit is that?
Unit is feet.
Feet. So our answer is 68 square feet, right? Because if we broke it down, we would have, I'm going to draw a little black line here. We would have 4 rows like this, and then we would have 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm going to go over here. 16, 17. So it's not perfect, obviously, but my point is we would have all those square units on the inside. Those are all square feet on the inside. So that's why we say square feet, right? Let's move on to another one. We have 11 and 5. This one doesn't have feet, so we're just dealing with units. We don't know what they are. Who can tell me what would we do first? All right, we're gonna use our whiteboards and our math notebooks, and we're gonna talk through this problem together. All right. So if you have your whiteboard next to you, if you don't have it, go grab it really quick because we're gonna do this step by step together and try to find the answer. Okay. So the first thing I need is somebody just to tell me, what are we gonna do to set up this problem? What is our equation gonna be to find the area of this rectangle? Remember, area is the space on the inside. So if we're finding the space on the inside, what do we do to get the area? A lot of y'all know this. You're just not speaking up because you knew.
Cynthia has her hand up.
Who did? Sorry.
Cynthia.
Cynthia, what are we gonna do?
Multiply
Yep, we're gonna multiply what, Cynthia?
11 times 5.
11 times 5. So I'm gonna actually take this rectangle here. I'm gonna move it up a little bit. I'm gonna move everything up a little just to give us some more room to work with underneath when we go to share. So I want everybody right now to take that, and they're gonna do 11 times 5. And I want you to go ahead and solve it. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to solve 11 times 5, and then we're going to share some of our strategies for finding our answer. So 11 times 5, you have 3 minutes starting now. You guys got 1 minute and 30 seconds left. 1 minute and 30 seconds. About 30 seconds left, and we're going to come back together. Clay, do you have a question, or do you wanting to share your strategy when we get back together?
I wanted to share my strategy, and I think I got the correct answer too.
Okay. We'll let you share first when you come back, and we'll see. Everybody else still got about 30, little less than 30 seconds to work on finishing that up. All right, everybody. Let's come back together. We're gonna let Clay talk through his solution first. And then if we have other people who want to chime in or add to that, we can. Clay, why don't you go ahead and talk us through step by step. What did you do to solve 11 times 5?
Why did I added? I know that 5 plus 5 equals 10. So I put 5 on the bottom, and then 6 plus 6. Oh no. Oh boy, again. I'll come back to you.
Somebody else wanted to share how you solved 11 times 5. Asil.
Okay, so I share. I did it 10 times 5. Then and it equals 50. Then I just added like a 50 plus 5, and it equals 55. So 11 times 5 equals 55.
Hey, that's an excellent strategy. So we call that using known facts. So Asil knew 10 times 5 was 50. So she did 10 times 5 and then added another one. So we would say the answer to that is 55 square units. We don't know the units, so we just say square units. Does somebody else who did it differently want to talk us through a different way? There's a seal strategy. Somebody else solve it a different way. Want to share with us how you did it? Kayla, go ahead.
I did 11 5 times, and then I counted by 11.
So you just okay.
Number 55.
So Kayla did kind of what we talked about without doing it in the circles, but she did like 11 5 times. And then she counted 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. They got 55 square units. Anybody else do it a different way that wants to share? We have time to do one more if somebody else has one a way they did it differently. Ania, go ahead.
So I counted 5 until I got 11, and I got 55, and I wrote square units for it.
Okay, so Ania just counted by 5, so she got 2 or 11 ones. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and then 55 is the 11th one, so you got 55. So 55 square units is that answer. Very good. We're going to move on. Thank you. I know some other people have time, something they want to share, but we don't quite have time. We want to make sure you guys have time to do your assignment today, so we're going to move on. The next one is important because a lot of the times you guys are going to see word problems like this one where they tell you you're going to have to find the area or find how much space something takes up, and then you have to figure out what to do as far as multiplication goes, all right? So you might see an example like this one. Is there a volunteer to read the problem? Who can just read the problem for us? CJ, go for it.
Sometimes you will encounter a story problem that asks you to find the area. It will look something like this. Mr. Miller is putting a new garden in his backyard. He wants the garden to be 12 feet long and 5 feet wide. How much space will his garden need in the backyard?
Thank you, sir. So Corbin, what is one measurement that is in that problem that's going to be important?
the 12 feet long and 5 feet wide?
Yep, so we know that we have a rectangle that is 12 feet long and 5 feet wide. So when we do that, I always tell you guys, when you have a problem like this with these two, draw the rectangle to help you picture it visually before you just go to solve it. Okay, so it said 12 feet long and 5 feet wide. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to label the top 12 feet, and I'm going to label the side 5 feet. And then what am I going to do to solve it? Alex, what am I going to do to find the area of that rectangle?
You're gonna
Think about what have we done so far to find area of rectangles? Who can help them out? What are we going to have to do? Eric, what are we going to have to do to find the area of that rectangle?
I think it's 12 plus 5 plus 12 plus 5.
That's perimeter. So that's if we were finding the outside, we're finding the inside. We're finding the area on the inside. So if we're doing the inside in square units, what are we doing, everybody? Somebody can just mute.
I know.
Multiplying.
Multiplying. So we're
Oh,
going
I know.
5 times 5. All right. Now, this is where we can use a lot of strategies, but I'm just going to say one that I like to use. We just did 11 times 5. What was 11 times 5? You can 55. Go ahead and 55. So if 11 times 5 was 55, we can just do 55 plus one more 5 and get 60. And so our answer is 60 what?
60 square feet.
60 square feet because our unit was feet. So 60 square feet. Okay? Your job today, is you have an area assignment on your Canvas page and then to do Dreambox. We did better on Dreambox yesterday. Thank you to those of you who got on and completed a couple lessons. I know that math is not taking you a full hour and 10 minutes, right? Because today you're going to have over an hour to get done with your math. So please make sure you're getting on Dreambox when you are done. So, whoops, on the wrong thing there. I was trying to upload the reading lesson. So you're going to go to Canvas. You're going to go to Thursday. And you're going to go to math. All right. Area of a rectangle is your assignment today. So it is 3 rectangles. And it says find the area of the following rectangles. And notice it says in yellow, explain how you got your answer. All right. So just like before, you get 1 point for solving and finding the area. And you get 1 point in each one for explaining how you got your answer. Okay. So you need to make sure you are explaining in detail how you got that answer. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So in just a second, I'm going to let you turn you loose to get started. I am going to say a few people who I'd like to stay on with us for just a few minutes after we get off. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my share and pause my recording.